All right. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 132. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Omazes.
All right, cool. Um, Quick show today. I don't think we have too many big topics, but I do want to get right into one of your topics real quick while we have the footage on the screen. This is still on the screen. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, a game that came out somewhat in the beginning of December. Still out right now. I think it normally retailed around $35 on every platform. And somebody probably got it on sale, and I know it's still coming out physical with a collector's edition, if I'm not mistaken, with a steelbook. There's like a $50 version and a regular $35 version. But the $50 version comes with the steelbook, a lot of lenticular artwork, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a couple other things, like maybe a soundtrack or something. I'm not too sure. But I do know it has a steelbook and it has some artwork with it. So go check that out. Support the Power Rangers. I think they're attempting to make a comeback with their figure line, action figure line. But I kind of scrutinized it a little bit. I think a lot of the community is scrutinizing it. But yeah, and then... on top of that, I guess they're adding still random looking Megazords and stuff as well. But you had a quick topic on the Power Rangers that you can go ahead and tell us more about right here in the intro. What's up with it?
So Hasbro was like, we don't want it anymore. And Disney was like, you know what? Yeah, we want it back. So Disney went and got Power Rangers back. They're going to be producing a new show or shows or movies. I think it's shows. And the two people in charge of it, Jonathan Steinberg, who's known for the latest 2023 Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which I didn't watch it because it felt like, it was like, it felt like it was for the new generation, right? Of kids that didn't really care for it. However, it was a well-received show, along with an older show from 2006, Jericho. And then Dan Schatz, who's also worked on Jericho, and also known for as a producer and writer for National Treasure, the old Nicolas Cage movie from 2004. They're the ones in charge of the new whatever's going to be coming up for Power Rangers. So that's what Disney's working on now.
How long do you think it's going to take for them to produce something from this new acquisition?
I think we can expect a new Power Rangers in 2027. That's
okay. Well, that's not too bad.
You're going to spend the rest of this year making more than a one-season plan this time. Like, I think they're going to want something thought out and ready to go. Then they got to write it. That has to get approved. Then they'll do their casting for it, film it, and then we'll probably see it by 2027.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing what they do. I really would hope, even though it's coming from Disney, that they will understand the age group that's like the core audience and what is probably, what that age group has been exposed to at this point, and to pivot a little bit. Because I think Netflix did a little bit. Yeah, Netflix, because we had that, spoiler alert, fatality in Netflix coming from Billy to a certain enemy, and go watch the episode.
Yeah, we're doing like Deadpool and Daredevil Born Again. They're not afraid of going, rated R or farther. But then, of course, you also have like Percy Jackson, Olympians, and other Disney stuff where they also cover your young age group. So I am hoping, like with the whole Netflix thing, right?
I mean, at least just have a story that goes from that actually stretches and makes sense and has a start and an end, and it's not really just repetitive. You know what I mean? Like, because people who grew up on a lot of franchises, they remember a lot of key things. Is one of the reasons why Marvel was so successful with these movies not too long ago. A lot of the audience is paying attention, and they're looking at a lot of key little details. There was, when we looked at a certain someone holding a hammer in Endgame, like how long it took for them to get to that moment, but like the details that was like spread out. You know what I mean? Like that was like 3, 4 movies in the making, and I feel like with that kind of time and stuff, like an audience for any show could be, into details of that show that stretches that far. So hopefully, somebody reads the room on that, or else you're just gonna have more of the same. And I think that is a very good transition though, because that's gonna go into our bigger topic, which is pretty much what is going on right now with like everybody in this Assassin's Creed thing. The reason why I think it transitions very well into the bigger topic is because the main thing that we keep hearing right now coming from the community that has been playing this game is that it's more of the same and they're not really doing something that's new and innovative in a way.
Yeah, I did
Um,
hear that it felt very like repetitive, not repetitive, but like I think that's how you put it. It's more of the same. It's sort of they're not pushing the envelope. They're not like trying to expand on the gameplay or expand on like what Assassin's Creed games bring to the table, right? Like I guess a good example would be like where you had your standard combat and then they introduced ship combat, right? A little bit in Assassin's Creed 3 and then dove into it for 4 Black Flag, but you're getting that like something new, and then this just feels like you're running the mill, like take it or leave it a Assassin's Creed game.
what's interesting about it is the takeaway that I'm getting from it possibly could be the same type of takeaway you can get from the Power Rangers, which is on screen and what we were just talking about. And that is, if you have never played an Assassin's Creed game, this game will be a good start for you. It will be fun because you've never seen their formula before.
Right.
But if you've seen their formula before, you're probably not going to have a good time. And Power Rangers, what we were talking about before, is like if Disney comes with the same formula, then the fan base isn't going to have a good time. But if they
Mm-hmm.
go out the box and do something else, then we probably are going to have a good time. And I think um, this game, Assassin's Creed, is pretty much the same way. It sounds to me that the fan base is not enjoying it, but if you're brand new, you're probably going to enjoy it. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, because I've been hearing a lot of comparisons to Valhalla, a lot of comparisons to Mirage, and people saying I'm sick and tired of a certain thing. And it reminds me of is the Far Cry series. The Far Cry series sounds like
That's a good
they keep
point.
saying it was the same game over and over again. But my man's what is the name of the actor from Breaking Bad? I, his
Uh,
his name just does not cross my mind right now. But
Jesse
he,
or
he not
which one?
Jesse, but he
Brian
played
Cranston?
the bad guy in Far Cry 6.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, and people felt like he is a great actor and he did a great job, but the formula in general,
Hmm.
everyone just was like, this is just the same thing. But if you haven't played Far Cry, people were saying this game was going to be great for you. So it's one of those things where it's a thing where it might attract a new audience, but it's exchanging the core audience. And unfortunately, the core audience is what's going to drive the numbers, because nobody's going to go towards something unless the core audience is like, showing it off. It's no different than me taking, like right now, I've been taking a lot of Rubik's Cubes to work and stuff, and it's got people like wanting to get into it. They wouldn't get into it unless I was into it, and I'm considered the core audience, right? And it's like, if you don't have a core audience, you're not gonna have people who's gonna build on it, really.
Yeah.
And so
I think
that's what I get from this. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I do think one of the issues too is how long it is kind of taking for certain games to kind of come out. Um, I think part of because like it's like when you're waiting, you're just waiting for that next one, and then that next one is just more of the same. It just starts feeling like a huge disappointment, right? And then when there's this giant like gaps of time in between, and you're starting to get new writers and new people and new things like that, and you have the bare mechanics, right? You're constantly just gonna kind of go with, all right, well, we got to make sure like newer gamers can also get into it because they might not go back and play the old one, right? Or before the old one, if you wanted to go back and play it, it was always like maybe 2 years old, and now the old one will be like 10, 11 years old. And it's like so like they don't want to go back and play it, so then everything always feels like it has to be like safely an entry point
Hmm.
for new people. And then I feel like a lot of these companies are diving so heavy into the entry point aspect of it that they're losing the people who've been there from the beginning, thinking like they're just gonna get it anyways and they'll be a part of it. And people are getting way more uh kind of finicky with their money, right? Like no one's trying to spend money for an average time, right?
Hmm.
Like everybody wants it needs to be worth their while. Everything is too expensive. Time is limited. There's so many games to still play that like unfortunately you have to keep trying to do better and not just more of the same. Like Assassin's Creed is not going to be like Madden, right? Like you're not just going
Hmm.
to get people just cranking it out each year just because they want the updated roster and they don't really care about the rest. Like these need to be, there needs to be more. It just needs to be more innovation, more mechanics, more things to be like this is the new thing, and it is sounding like just don't have that.
I think a bigger part of that discourse right now, as far as Assassin's Creed, is the conversation around the state of Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really bad about it is like there's all of this conversation saying this might be their last game, and it's such a weird thing to hear people say because it sounds like well, we've seen so many studios go under now. It's so crazy, but hasn't really been big publishers like that. Just been like little studios. But it sounds like a studio can't afford to just make a mistake or just make something that's just not a number one hit. I do think that this game is still going to be a big hit for this month. It's not too many big names this month. There's some games, but it's not too many big names. But it also seems like they're not going to see the numbers that they want. And it's not fair overall to the people who probably day to day worked on it because, the game was already hit with a lot of controversy that didn't really have too much to do with the gameplay. It had everything to do with like everything else.
Still happening.
And it's still happening. Yeah, there's still a bunch of stuff happening. Um, that it really what makes it bad is like how you would have a game where people would be like, okay, here's this controversy, but the gameplay is still good.
Hmm.
Like this seems like one of those things where it's like, okay, it has some controversy that was like, whatever controversy, but then afterwards people were saying the game ain't really that good.
I guess that's the point. I guess yeah. So you're putting it into words better than I was like. I'm trying, but I think that's like a good point. There's controversy. The gameplay is average. Your story is by the numbers, and the setting has now already been done a bunch of times. Right? Like if this was the
Yeah.
only Japan game that's out, you can at least be like, yeah, but we're getting this cool new setting. But it's like when you got Ghost of Tsushima, the Rise of the Ronin, and like all of these other ones already there, it's just like, well, nope. The setting is just like these ones. The gameplay is just like the other ones. The story is kind of mediocre and by the numbers. Like it's just everything just feels again subpar.
Yeah, and what's bad is I don't think that the game is probably terrible. I don't think that it's terrible. It didn't even look like it was terrible.
I think
It
it's hitting around
just
what, 6 or 7.
say it again.
I think it's hitting around what like 6 or 7 out of 10. Like it's an
Yeah.
average
Here,
Ubisoft
but
experience.
here's the problem, and I absolutely agree with the fan base on this type of thing in general. you are still coming to us telling us to pay full price for a title along with whatever money for some sort of egregious DLC costs, which usually ends up making the entire thing like 80 or 90 or $100, or maybe some sort of collector's edition that doesn't come with a physical release, right? It's like they'll try to guilt trip you when some of them all of a sudden is having to lay off half their staff and all that type of thing. And when you think about it, it's like, but you're still putting out a product that's just not up to par. And so if they were looking to do something that was extra safe, but you didn't give us a product that the fan base is really wanting to say like, yo, this was a wow moment. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for everybody, it's maybe you could say this part. What I'm going to say is unfair, but then you could argue it's not unfair. If you're going to ask for a $70 game, the game needs to deliver as much as the hype is for something like GTA 6. And then you might say, hey, that's not fair. That's a very unfair comparison. But until we see them say that's $100, we expect them to come out with that game and it's going to be 70. And it's like, well, if your game is going to be the same 70, you need to come with the same impact, the same wow factor. You need to have the same amount of engagement. You got to have all of that, you know.
And I would even say, if not all, it has to be something, right? Like it's sounding like every part of this game is B, like a level, like a B grade at best,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like it can't be every part of it. Like even like if it's like the gameplay is like your normal formula, blah blah blah, but the story is so good that it just brings you in, and you need to see like what happens next,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have something that it's like, well, this is the main big thing that I can praise, right? Um, like I'm diving deep into the story, but if it's every aspect is mediocre, then no, I agree with you. It's unfair to call out for like 70 in that case.
Yeah, because I think they just have to look at it from the perspective of the gamer, because you have one company who's handing you a $700 console now, right? And then another company is buying every publisher they can. And then the other company is potentially giving you another hard piece of hardware that's going to cost more but potentially not be anywhere near the power of the other two, right? And everybody knows the three I'm talking about without me even having to explain anything else. So it's like, at least have the games in order. You know what I mean? Like, at least have the titles in order, because they're cannibalizing each other, they're firing each other. You know what I mean? They're going to courts and stuff over each other's titles and stuff. It's like, at least at the end of the day, have the product where it needs to be. Now I don't want to just like, I know this is still a Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed topic. I will say it does still sound to me that if you have never played this game series, then you should have a fantastic time or a good time with this one at least. But it's still not, acceptable to everyone else if it's really widespread, like the feedback that we're getting. You shouldn't get more of the same when you had a console where you were promised something that was like so much more different. Even on the PC side, you're promised like these high graphics and high like the ability to really like amplify your game.
It,
And then we haven't really even been seeing that in every title on the PC side either.
mm,
So yeah, we are still demanding better. I do not want to see the Ubisoft really, take a toll the way that it sounds like they're going to. It's really too early to say, but it's weird to read the room like that. I don't know if you saw, but there was like a little clip on I saw it on Twitter or X, but I guess like a CEO over there had to make a statement, and I think he was making a statement about like not tolerating the disrespect towards the company because of their design choices around the characters like orientations and everything that was coming out
Uh,
at the last minute. It's just like, man,
I don't
I
know.
don't.
On a
Yeah.
side note, just as a side note for those that are like interested also in the game, with some of the orientation stuff, they had mentioned before, at least for the like the romance options, that
Hmm.
all of them were a choice. Like you're not locked into a specific thing. Like you have people you can choose from. Like
Yeah.
in the game, just as like the slight, like I know, because that's been the big deal. If anyone's been looking, that's been the big news, and people are portraying it as if like it's almost like a forced sort of thing. And it's
Hmm.
not. It's not. But I sometimes wish that that part would die down so the actual critiques of the game can get across. Because since that part gets so loud, all the big boss people go is like, oh, that's why it didn't do well, and then they ignore everyone else saying like, well, no, it's just boring.
It does sound like this game's going to really take a big hit. I don't know if it's going to be as big as what Dragon Age took, but it is going to take a big hit overall. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest though. Like for the Assassin's Creed as a series, the last I want to say 4-ish games, I've always got them on a sale. I always did the Black Friday thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably gonna do it with this as well. And I know that sounds like it might hurt a company in the long run or something. It's just one of those things where it's just like it wasn't really on my radar like that. And I honestly feel like if you really want me to have it on my radar like that, you really got to present a product that makes me really want it the way
Yeah,
the masses wants GTA. It's just it is what it is. But I wasn't as sold, and I'm not really like I don't think the game was bad or all. It really just wasn't selling me honestly.
you know what? I
Um.
think this is a good example too of how you're like explaining it, and stuff like that. Like, Persona 5 Tactica, right? That
Hmm.
one that
Yeah.
came out. I bought it at full price, like
Okay.
for the game, like right away. I didn't wait for any sort of sale or things like that. I got into Persona 5 Royal late, but I loved Persona 5 Royal going through the whole game. And it's like if you really, really break it down, it's just Pokemon combat, right? Like it's
Hmm.
turn based. Who has the stronger stat? Combat. But the story for me was like so good and engrossing that like I knew when they were like we're releasing Tactica, and it's like it's these characters that I really enjoy and more story. I'm gonna get it day one, right? Or I'm gonna get it at the beginning, and I paid full price for it.
Hmm.
Where if nothing in there is like that captivating, then no, it's not fair for them to get mad if you wait for a sale, right? Like if you're not putting
Yeah.
out top tier work, why should I put out top tier money? Like I can wait. Like if there's nothing engrossing for me to get, like my favorite Assassin's Creed game is Assassin's Creed 3, and that's because I'm a big fan of like the whole American Revolution and
Hmm.
everything. So that's the story for it. So even if the gameplay is very similar to the other ones and things like that, that setting is super interesting to me, and that's why like I dove into that one. Some of the other ones, it's like I didn't get for Black Flag because like I didn't
Hmm.
really have an interest in being a pirate. So I feel like again, this game, like you said, it appeals to new people or anybody who really want to be in feudal Japan. It just sucks because other games have already done the feudal Japan thing. So it feels like there's already better in that setting. But yeah, I don't feel like it's fair that they can get mad over the Black Friday sales. Like, put out a top
Well,
tier game.
um, for Atlas and the Persona series, the Persona series was a nice amount of games. It's not just Persona. There was the Shimigami Tensei series as well, which where Persona came from, right? Like there's enough games there that made everyone hype and go run towards Metaphor Refantasio.
Mm-hmm.
Assassin's Creed has enough role playing from so many different things Pirates of the Caribbean, actually being an assassin out there in Egypt in the desert. Well, Pirates of the Caribbean, I meant Black Flag actually.
Yeah.
But those games, Valhalla, Mirage, Odyssey, they should have all made you so hyped that you ran towards Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadows, the same way a certain amount of people ran towards Metaphor Refantasio. And that's not the case here. And honestly, that really is Ubisoft's fault because Atlas and the Persona series runs deep for a really long time, and so does the Assassin's Creed games. They run deep for a while, not as long as the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei series, but they do run all the way back to like the Xbox 360 days, basically. So if that's really what we're talking, this is 3 generations of Assassin's Creed. Each generation is 7 years. So we're still talking 20 plus years. So it's not you can't really be that upset. Or you can't really be like if you are a Ubisoft CEO or something, like can you really be mad at the fan base? You kind of have to look at your own catalog and say like, well, that's on us if we couldn't get everybody to run towards this game. It really is on them. It's unfortunate, but if you go to any other genre that stretches this far, I mean, like other games, GTA runs really deep too, right? And we've compared it. I know it might seem like it's a bad comparison. With like, is it really comparison? Because all you're talking about is development and time. And so you have to make a better game. I will say there were a lot of references from what I was seeing to like Last of Us gameplay, even with some of the music at one point and all the crouching in the grass and stuff, the way that they were doing it. I think that, it's one thing for certain games to have a little bit of assets that they borrow here and there, but you don't want to look like the Power World to another game. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the perception from the masses. But listen, I don't want to rag on it too long. I will buy this game. It will be a Black Friday thing. Unfortunately, I don't think it will be this year. I am one of those people who is very calculated with some of these games that I buy. Any game that's like not considered the top 5, they usually go on a Black Friday the very next year. And that's where this is looking like. It's looking like a Black Friday 2026 buy for me for literally $20. I'm gonna be honest. But I will say I will still support the game. I actually do still think everyone else should support Assassin's Creed as a series, because let's say it's $70, right? If it's really the same as everything else, I would say spend that 70 on a collection of those games. I know they had the Ezio collection at one point. They had a bunch of other stuff. You could buy a bunch of Assassin's Creed games for $70. Probably the top 2 or 3 for half that. And see if you like those games. Because if we're saying it's the same experience no matter what, you can get this experience for a cheaper price. And you don't have to worry about people spoiling it for you because they've been stopped talking about some of those older games. And just enjoy one of the other ones. Valhalla is like longer than long. It's like they were aiming for, what I heard, they were trying to make like a richer clone. So it's a long game. That one I believe came out when the systems launched in 2020. You can find that very cheap anywhere. You could probably go to like a GameStop and get it for like 15-20 bucks somewhere, right? Or eBay. You're right. And just play something cheap. If you like this series, then go play this one, afterwards if you really want to. Anything else you want to say about this one?
No, I think you covered it well.
All right. Well, for the bigger picture, I do not want to see Ubisoft just crumble to an oblivion. I do think it's really alarming that we're acting like a company or a publisher can't make a mistake, or if their game does not sell like GTA, then it's just like it's over for everyone. I don't think that that's fair a little bit, but that's just the industry right now, unfortunately. Um, Let me go ahead and let's do the Epic Games thing. Let's just do the unofficial sponsor. Unofficial sponsor is Epic Games, which is a PC launcher, and everyone knows them mainly for the bread and butter Fortnite, which I'm pretty sure is paying the bills for all this stuff. So thank you to the Fortnite players for giving us, a lot of free games on the back end from all the skins and stuff that y'all been buying. But not Assassin's Creed. Epic Games gives away games every week. Sometimes it's 2 games. This week it looks like it's 1, but interesting enough, it looks like it will be 2 games next week. And I believe the game this week is Jurassic World Evolution 2, which is like a farming sim-ish with dinosaurs. But go check out the trailer. Go ahead, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say more park, like amusement park sim.
Amusement park sim?
Yeah, you're like building and like you're trying to make like a pretty much an amusement park for people to go to and manage the park and everything while also making sure the dinosaurs don't break out.
Yeah. But I was also gonna say, if you're into Jurassic World or Jurassic Park, the original name of the franchise, go check out the trailer, because I think they're on their 3rd Jurassic World movie that they're gonna do, or is it the 4th one? I don't know.
Fourth, I think.
But overall, official Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise movies is probably like 6 or 7 now. I'm a big person in the sci-fi with the dinosaurs and the sharks. Shout out to all the sharks. But yeah, the game is available right now until March 27th. It is so crazy to see that on paper, that we're talking about the end of March almost. Like what is going on with the time of this year? But yes, that's the one that's available. Next week, interesting enough, they're saying they have 2 mystery games. They're not wanting to tell you what these games are. I think they've done this before, and I think we were saying like it's probably because they don't know yet. What's interesting though, I'm just speculating, but I think one of them is actually going to be Dragon Age Veilguard. I saw on their social media they were hinting at something about that with Dragon Age. And I actually thought Dragon Age was already picked. I was like, let me go look. Is it already picked? Because of what they were saying. But I think that might be one of them. Dragon Age Veilguard. Which is crazy if it would be, because it's so quick.
It's
How
quick, but ain't nobody else buying it, so why not?
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably it. So we'll see next week and we'll report on it. But it's 2 mystery games. And I'm willing to bet one of them is a big AAA game known as Dragon Age. And other than that, remember, Epic Games, you do not need to have your credit card on file, debit card on file to create a profile. You just need to create a profile, use your gamer tag from any other platform that you have. And if you're not on PC, once you get on PC, you can log in and you have all of these, free games to play. Anything from the Amazon world? Anything you want to say about that?
So I mentioned it last week that they have their 27 games throughout the month. So all of them should be up by next week Tuesday for you to grab, and then we'll see what April brings.
Unrelated, but I'll just mention in like 15 seconds. I've been on Amazon buying Rubik's Cubes, man. They have been very relaxing and very challenging puzzles. but they're just so fun to turn. That's what I've been doing on Amazon, y'all. I didn't buy any Amazon games, but I did buy some bigger Rubik's Cube puzzles. Because that's another niche that I'm into. That has nothing to do with gaming yet. I don't know if somebody goes there. If they do, I might actually buy it. It would be a cool little game where you could play all this stuff digitally. But yeah, I got a 9x9 in my hand right now, and I think that this is really cool. That's all I got to say on that. What is going on with Game Informer? What are you trying to tell me? What's going on with this
Well,
topic?
I'm trying to figure out what Game Informer is trying to tell us. They dropped on their Twitter or X.
They
They
still
were
have
like,
a
"Oh,
social
Game
media.
Informer." Yep, and it was the
Hmm.
whole screen where they had to say goodbye, but then they just captioned the date, March 25th. Like
March 25th.
that's what they said. So people are thinking that they're gonna actually make a comeback of some kind. Um, they're thinking they're teasing some possible revival from the team. Like all of the staff seems to be teasing it and sharing it. That something's happening March 25th. So we'll be able to talk about it next week's podcast. We'll find out on Tuesday.
I honestly don't
What
know
Game Informer?
why they like. I can understand, the departure from GameStop a little bit, but when you look at all these websites and stuff that just report stuff, sometimes it's like they don't even have, like, I've been complaining for a while that their source has been like some rando on Twitter, right? And
Mm-hmm.
his rumors and stuff, and we just give them like some clout for no reason. But I'm just like, why would you go away when everybody else is still reporting any kind of news? Like, they all say the same thing. It's
Well, I
like
think part of the issue is the fact that a lot of it came through GameStop. Like you get
hmm
GameStop, you get Game Informer. I don't know how many people was just going to Game Informer on their own. I don't know how much they were shelling out for this partnership with GameStop, and maybe that was like losing money, and they needed to get out of the contract or something. Or the fact that they didn't think that they were making enough or making an impact because of how many news sources there are. So they left, but once they left, a lot of people have been complaining, they're like, we miss it, we miss their type of list. Um, the we just the stories that you would get out of it, the actual news where you don't have to also recheck to make sure it's real, because all their sources are fine, because it's a legit reporting company and everything, and now they're just teasing. So I don't know if they're gonna have an online platform, if GameStop was begging and paid them more money to come back.
I was gonna
Um,
say, do you think it's the opposite? They had to like burn out some sort of contract with GameStop. Like, how we've talked about with wrestling, for example, people having these like non-competes or some weird thing like that. Then they
mm-hmm.
choose to honor. Like, it could have been the same kind of thing, maybe. Like, you just have this non-compete clause or something. You can't say or
Yeah,
do something, which is
that might be
weird.
it.
Because I still don't believe in those, but um, I wouldn't be surprised if it has something to do with that. Because even if it was just like down to one or two people writing articles, I know YouTubers that still run their own websites where they write their articles. So I'm like, somebody with this kind of clout, like, even if you had to resize, I wouldn't want you to go away completely, because all you got to do is just say the same thing everybody else saying.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Well,
we can cover it if they're actually doing something. I do doubt that they would ever do a physical magazine again, unless you just had like some sort of top tier membership with them, where they could just
mm-hmm.
send you something. I think that if anything, it'll be harder to get. You really would have to have the highest tier, because people act like printing stuff out is like the worst thing ever nowadays.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see it. Now, what I would want from them, because we're talking about like so far like other games and stuff just coming out with the same thing, if this is gonna be like the same news as like what I would still want from you if you're gonna be a news source and be credible and stuff, actually break news. Like you be the one who breaks the news. You be the one who's accurate on certain, details and stuff, not just keep saying what everybody else is saying. And definitely do not just come out of nowhere with a source that's like, according to this dude on Twitter with no face.
Which
No.
I don't feel like. Hopefully they don't, and I don't think they have in the past. From all of their stuff felt very legit. It was never that. It was, they would name the like industry person.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like this guy on Twitter. It was the creator of this or the writer for this game. Like everything felt way more legit.
Yeah, so that's what I would want. But other than that, yeah, if you got credible news and stuff, I would still add them to my list of news. Sources that I go to sometimes. I didn't really pull anything for this episode because I didn't think we needed to. Assassin's Creed was probably going to be the biggest enough, the biggest thing anyway. Along with one of my favorite franchises, um, Digimon. Now you mentioned Digimon card game. I actually do remember them having a card game like a long time ago. But
Yes,
are they doing a brand new one?
yeah, to be more specific, so there's an app, Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they made a condensed version of the Pokemon card game that you could play off your phone. But
Okay.
I downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet. But I heard it's
Okay.
good. Well, Digimon recently had like some sort of like little event thing where they were showing off like some more about Time Stranger and some other stuff coming up, and they teased the whole thing where Renamon was like looking at a phone, and then it was like TCG, and then like Renamon got pulled into the phone. So I think a lot of people are saying Pokemon TCG is about to get a competitor, so it looks like Digimon's gonna move into the like card game app space,
Hey.
which I'm excited for because I know they already got it like squared up. They had their card game before, so they'll be ready to go. Um, I don't know. It reminds me of the season 3 Digimon where they had all the cards that like amp up their Digimon, and I just feel like, and obviously like they're using Renamon as the big advertisement for it, so they're really inspired by season 3, which is a lot of people's favorite. Um,
Hey,
so yeah,
that's
I'm excited
cool.
for that.
That's cool. I did see like I didn't actually see the whole thing, but I did see they had like I don't know if it was a showcase or a con or something to do with Digimon. And I don't know if that's what you saw.
Yeah, it was a con.
It was a con. And did
It
they
seems like
give out more news on their new game?
yes, they
Um
did.
okay.
So one, they were really pushing the fact that like how in the Cyber Sleuth games you can switch between like Japan and the digital world, but a lot of it really took place in Japan, right? Like you
Okay.
would cover little bits and pieces of the digital world. They're like for this one, like no, you're really gonna get to explore the digital world as well. So it looks like it's a lot more to do inside the digital world. They also have their two protagonists, right? The guy and the girl, and they
Okay.
said you choose one, and then the other one becomes like your kind of like it's like while you're in the digital world, they're the ones doing the research on the side to contact. So they both get to
Hmm.
impact the story. It's like they're your sidekick, whoever you don't choose. Um, they said that for the game, your starter Digimon that you get to choose from: Patamon, Gomamon, and Demi Devimon. So it's crazy to get Patamon and Demi Devimon, right? The angel line and the devil
Hmm.
line, and then Thor, Gomamon for some reason.
Yeah.
Angel Devil, or you get to be Thor. But those are your starters that you get to start from, and there's going to be, I think they said 450 Digimon in the game.
Hey.
So largest roster. I always love the fact too that like, you could start with one Digimon and it's like there's so many branches that it can go that you could like use one starter Digimon to pretty much start like getting into other ones. But yeah, they look like it's gonna be 450. And they just started talking more about the game, like what the overall story is, which I kind of skipped over that part because I don't want it
Right.
spoiled for me. Um, but you can go back and read it. They talk about the villain. They give a lot of details. So yeah, it was Digimon Con 2025, and the game is
Hey.
still set to come out this year.
I will be getting it just like I get all the other ones, but I am still technically in Cyber Sleuth. I have put like 140 hours into it and kind of stopped. I was like grinding just a little too hard with Platinum Numamon, getting all the megas a
I
little
only
too
did that at
early.
the end of the game.
Yeah,
When I realized there was a specific team I wanted for the final boss, so I ended up getting that team like from the like second to final boss, and that's when I grinded the Platinum Numamon strategy there.
yeah.
But you hit it at like halfway in the game. I
Cause
remember
I
talking.
was like, I was just sitting there listening to podcasts and just doing it, honestly. And it got to the point where I was so into the podcast and stuff and doing it that I was losing track of time and just kept going. But yeah, I'm gonna pick it back up once I slowed back down on Game Pass for a little while. And then catch up with the new ones. And follow the order because I want to start playing the backlog a lot more. On top of the PS Plus and the Game Pass. But I think that's it, man. Is that our show? Is that our show this week? I think that's it.
So, yeah. That's our
That's
show.
pretty good. That's pretty good. I would like to see the industry evolve instead of devolve in general. And that's it. That's all I got for this episode. We will catch you next week. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a happy pre-summer. We're heading straight into it. I'm glad that we're starting to warm up. I don't think we talked about the weather in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you next week. Peace.